From Carol lying to Tyrese's face about the people she killed, to Negan turning Abraham and Glenn's deaths into a lesson for everyone left breathing. These are the betrayals that didn't just break trust, they proved trust was never safe to give in the first place. 10. Andrea chooses Woodbury over her own family. Andrea spends an entire season standing between two worlds, and she keeps choosing the wrong one. She watches the governor lie about the Walker Arena, about what happened to Glenn and Maggie, about everything that matters, and she stays anyway.
What the hell was that? You put a round in a man's head in front of all those people and just take off? You have to talk to them.
Why?
They're panicking. They were ready to charge through those gates.
Michonne tries to warn her and gets shut out for it. The group outside Woodbury's walls keeps paying for the time Andrea spends convincing herself patience is the same thing as loyalty.
I'm afraid you're gonna disappear. We always talked about this place, didn't we? A refuge. That idea is what kept us going.
By the time she understands what she's protecting, it's already cost people their lives. This ranks at 10 because her betrayal is passive, a failure to act rather than a choice to harm, and the entries above only get more deliberate from here. And the next betrayal isn't about someone refusing to see the truth, it's about someone building an entire system out of it. 9. Dawn learners trade at Grady Memorial. Grady Memorial sells itself as a sanctuary. Dawn calls it order. Everyone else calls it captivity with a price tag. She runs the hospital like a ledger, trading captives and debts like currency, and tells herself every single time that she's keeping people alive.
No, I just need Noah. And then you can leave.
It wasn't part of the deal.
Noah was my ward. Beth took his place and I'm losing her, so I need him back.
Beth watches the system chew through anyone who can't pay it back. The group outside sees a rescue mission turn into a hostage negotiation over human beings. And the show uses Dawn to ask its darkest question yet: what happens when survival itself becomes the thing being exploited? This sits one spot above Andrea, because Dawn isn't blind to the harm, she's just decided it's necessary. Which raises the question every fan asked after this aired: how do you fight a system instead of a person? The next entry answers that the hard way. 8. The Claimers hunt Rick, Carl, and Michonne. Rick thinks escaping the prison means escaping men like this. He's wrong. Joe and his men corner the three of them on a quiet stretch of road like it's nothing personal, and that's exactly what makes it worse. They drag Michonne into the dirt. They go after Carl next. And then Rick says the 4 words that confirm what this show has been building toward all along. That's my son. Rick doesn't hesitate after that. Carl watches his father become something neither of them can take back.
What the hell are you gonna do now, sport?
Michonne sees the version of Rick that's been waiting underneath the whole time. And the show stops pretending survival and decency can coexist forever. This ranks above Dawn because Joe's group never pretends to be anything but what they are, and somehow that honesty makes the violence feel even more inevitable. But while Joe's group never hid what they wanted, the next betrayal wears the mask of safety itself. And that's what makes it so much harder to see coming. 7. Gareth and Terminus promise sanctuary. Those who arrive, survive. Rick's group reads those words like a lifeline. After everything they've lost, after the prison falls apart, Terminus looks like the first good thing the world has offered them in years. Gareth smiles. Gareth shakes hands. Gareth walks them straight into a slaughterhouse. The group realizes the trap closes the second the gate locks behind them, and there's nowhere left to run. And the show uses Terminus to permanently poison the idea of trusting a stranger's kindness, because the people who built this place understood exactly what desperate survivors needed to hear. This ranks above the Claimers because Joe's group was at least honest about what they were. Gareth weaponized hope itself. This is where the show stops pretending that surviving means something and starts asking whether it ever did. 6. The wolves exploit Alexandria's mercy. Alexandria builds walls and pretends the world outside still plays by the old rules. The wolves understand exactly how to use that against them. They don't break in through force. They walk in through trust, disguising desperation as a cry for help until the gates are already open and it's too late to close them. Survivors who've never seen real violence are suddenly drowning in it. Deanna's entire vision of a rebuilt civilization gets torn apart in a single afternoon. And the show makes its point with brutal efficiency. Every kindness Alexandria extends becomes a vulnerability someone else is willing to exploit. This sits above Terminus because the wolves don't even need a plan as elaborate as Gareth's. Naivety alone is enough to let them in. 5. Negan forces submission. With Lucille, Rick's group has survived the prison, survived Terminus, survived the wolves. They walk into the woods sure that surviving is the same as winning. Negan proves otherwise before he even introduces himself.
You're Rick, right? I'm Negan. And I do not appreciate you killing my men.
He lines them up. He lets the silence stretch until it's unbearable. He swings a barbed wire bat into the dark and laughs while it lands. The group doesn't fight back, not because they're weak, but because for the first time, fighting back isn't even an option being offered to them. And the show uses this single moment to permanently end the idea that this group controls its own survival. This ranks above the wolves because Negan doesn't exploit a weakness. He manufactures total helplessness on purpose. If one of the moments you were expecting hasn't shown up yet, don't worry, because this is where the list stops being shocking and starts being permanent. And if you're a Walking Dead fan who remembers where you were when these moments aired, make sure you're subscribed, because the top entries on this list are the ones that changed everything. 4. Carol lies to Tyrese's face. Tyrese trusts Carol completely. That trust is the only reason he's still standing after everything he's lost, and Carol knows it. So, when he asks her, directly, if she knows anything about who killed Karen and David, she looks him in the eye and tells him no. Tyrese spends episodes grieving a mystery that was never a mystery at all. The group watches Carol carry the secret like it costs her nothing, when it's clearly costing her everything. And the show forces a brutal question onto its own found family. Does protecting someone you love justify lying to the person who loved them too? This ranks above Negan's lineup because physical violence is expected on this show. Betraying the person who trusts you most isn't. But while Carol's lie was about protecting someone she loved, the next betrayal is about a man who never loved anyone but himself. 3. Gregory sells out his own people again and again. Gregory never picks a side. He picks whoever's currently winning. The Hilltop trusts him as their leader, and he repays that trust by handing names to the saviors.
The Hilltop is mine.
The Hilltop stands with Negan and the Savior.
By signing his own people's death warrants just to keep his title a little longer. This changed everything about what leadership means on this show, because Gregory proves a leader doesn't need strength to destroy a community. He just needs cowardice and enough rope to hang everyone else with it. Maggie watches him do it more than once and still has to share a roof with him. The Hilltop survives in spite of him, never because of him. The show was never the same after this, because Gregory makes betrayal look less like a villain's plan and more like an ordinary man's instinct for self-preservation. This is where the series crossed a line it couldn't come back from, proving the worst threat isn't always the one holding a weapon. 2. Negan's lineup claims Abraham and Glenn. A full season builds toward this moment, and the show makes the audience wait every unbearable second of it. Negan walks the line slowly. He talks, he laughs, he lets Lucille hang in the air like a sentence already passed. And then he swings, once on Abraham, and the group barely has time to process it before he swings again.
Okay, Dad. Taking it like a champ.
Glenn tries to speak. He can't. Maggie watches the father of her unborn child die in front of her, with no warning and no mercy. Rick watches his entire group break in real time, because Negan doesn't just kill two men. He proves that nothing this group built, none of it, can protect the people they love most. This changed everything. The show was never the same after this, because hope had a price now, and the price was whoever the group loved best. Fans never forgot this moment, and the next one is the betrayal that made all of this possible in the first place. 1. Shane's betrayal of Rick before Terminus. Before Negan. Before any of it, there's Shane, the man who's supposed to be Rick's brother, standing in a field with a gun pointed at his best friend's back.
Raise your gun. You're gonna have to kill an unarmed man.
He spent the whole season convincing himself that loving Lori, raising Carl, leading the group, all of it should belong to him instead. So, he leads Rick out where no one can see, and he tells him the lie that justifies that this is the only way either of them walks away. Rick survives only because Carl doesn't hesitate the way his father does, and a 12-year-old boy becomes the one who has to end it.
Just put It's not what it seems, please.
This is where the series crossed a line it couldn't come back from, because the first unforgivable betrayal on this show didn't come from a stranger, a cult, or a man with a bat. It came from family. This didn't just end a character. It ended what the show was trying to be, a story about people protecting each other instead of destroying one another from the inside. What Shane took from Rick that day didn't just end a friendship. It ended the show's belief that the worst threats would always come from outside the fence. These were the betrayals that didn't just hurt. They rewrote what trust meant for everyone left standing. Which betrayal still doesn't sit right with you? Did we miss one? Drop it below, we might build the next video around it. Subscribe if you're not done processing what this show did to you. Click here to watch Smartest Decisions in The Walking Dead. It hits just as hard.